Good morning. Today we will see Devson-Germer experiment. The wave nature of electron was experimentally verified by Devson and Germer in 1927. They studied the diffraction of electron which are diffracted from crystals whose atoms are separated approximately. This figure shows the Devson-Germer experimental arrangement. In this figure, this is the low tension battery. This is the filament. D1 and D2 are diaphragms. This is the high tension battery. This is the aluminum cylinder. And this is the nickel target. H is the handle. Now, I will explain you the experimental arrangement. Before that, the wave nature of electron was experimentally verified by Devson and Germer in 1927. They studied the diffraction of electrons which are diffracted from crystals whose atoms are separated approximately. Isn't it? Now, from this figure, the electrons are produced by heating the filament F using the low tension battery. The electrons are passed in parallel lines between the slit by using the aluminum diaphragms D1 and D2. These electrons are accelerated by using the high potential is applied to the D1 and D2. Then electron beam is allowed to incident on the nickel target crystal. The crystal can be rotated using the handle H about the axis parallel to axis of incident beam. The atoms of crystal scatter the incident electrons in all directions. These electrons collected by a collector C. Here the collector C this is the collector C at the point D, and the galvanometer is connected to the cylinder, and this galvanometer measures the electron scale. Again I will revise the figure. All of you listen it carefully. The electrons are produced by heating the filament F by a low tension battery. The electrons are passed in parallel lines between the slit by using the aluminum diaphragms D1 and D2. The electrons are accelerated by passing them through an aluminum cylinder across which a high potential or high tension is applied. This electron beam is allowed to incident on a nickel crystal, or this is also called as nickel target. The crystal can be rotated by using the handle H about axis parallel to the incident beam. The atoms of crystal scatter the incident electrons in all directions. These electrons collected by the collector C. The galvanometer is connected to the collector C, and it can be noted with the help of the circular scale. The electrons are reflected in the directions making an angle 20 degree to 90 degree. All of you remember the reflected electrons having the direction making an angle 20 degree to 90 degree with the incident beam are collected. The walls of the C and D collector insulated with each other, and the retarded potential is applied between these two walls, and then the collector across the collector, so that the electrons having the velocity equal to that of the incident velocity and are excited by collisions with atoms enter the collector. The experiment can be performed by the two ways. This is the experimental arrangement and the experimental explanation. There are two methods, that is for the normal incident, and second one is for the oblique incident. First of all, we have to see the normal incidence. First method is normal incidence. Now in normal incidence, already I have told you, whenever the electrons are reflected in all directions, then it can make an angle from 20 degree to 90 degree. Therefore, for the normal incidence, I will explain you, the beam of electrons is allowed to fall normally on the surface of the crystal. Then the collector is moved on a circular scale to collect the electrons from various directions, and galvanometer current is measure of the intensity of electron beams. Then we will plot here the curve using the angle between the incident beam and beam entering the collector, means directly the intensity. Means we will plot here the graph across the intensity and the diffraction angle. Suppose first graph is plotted for the 40 volt, then the graphical curve is like that. Second graph is plotted for the 44 volt, then the graph is in this way. The third graph is for 48 volt, 48 volt, then the curve is in this way. The next fourth graph is plotted for the 54 volt, then the curve is in this way. Again, the next curve is for 60 volt, and the last curve is shown here for the 68 volt. Then the curve is in this manner. While observing these curves, we will see the difference in these curves. Suppose this is the A, B, C, D, E and F curves are there. F graphs are there. Then we will explain here the curve B shows, this is the curve B, this is the A. Curve B shows the bump at the 44 volt, means this is the bump. This is the bump at 44 volt applied voltage. As applied voltage increases, the bump is also increases. See, in the C graph, this is the A, this one is the B, this one is the C, D, E and F. In the C graph, there is, as the increase in voltage, the bump is also increase. This is called as bump. This is also increase, moves upward direction and moves in the upward direction. It is again changed at the 54 volt. In 54 volt, it is also increase in the upward direction. Similarly, while increasing the voltage, the figure D shows the constructive interference. Figure D shows the constructive interference. And now, in this manner, the electron waves scattered in the direction from equally spaced planes of the crystals and in each atoms. Then we have to say that according to the de Broglie, lambda is equal to H upon mv. Lambda is equal to H upon mv. Now, since 1/2 mv square is equal to EV, therefore V square is equal to 2 EV upon m. 2 EV upon m, isn't it? Lambda is equal to H upon mv, but 1/2 mv square is equal to EV, therefore V square is equal to 2 EV upon m. Therefore V is equal to under root of 2 EV upon m, isn't it? Therefore, we can put this value of V in the equation of wavelength, and we can write lambda is equal to H upon m under root of 2 EV upon m. Now, then this equation can be written in the manner that is H upon under root of 2 MEV. 2 MEV, isn't it? Now, therefore, therefore, lambda can be calculated. What is our aim here? Our aim is to calculate the wavelength for different voltages, that is 40 volt, 44 volt, 48 volt, etc. Now, first of all, we have to calculate the wavelength. Wavelength lambda for the 54 volt. For 54 volt, lambda is equal to, what is the formula? H upon under root of 2 MEV. Then lambda is equal to, what is the value of H? H is the Planck's constant, 6.62 into 10 to the power minus 34 divided by 2 into m, mass of electron 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 into V raised to, this is in under root, okay? Now, therefore, after solving this, 6.62 into 10 to the power minus 34 divided by under root of 2 into 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 34 into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 into V, we will get lambda is equal to how much? 12.27 divided by under root of V means what is the value of V? We have to calculate lambda here for 54 volt. So that 54, that is equal to 1.67 angstrom unit. Means the wavelength at 54 volt 1.67 angstrom unit. Similarly, for reflecting grating, suppose theta is equal to 50 degree. Then we have to calculate the basic formula 2d sine of theta is equal to n lambda. For nickel, here we have to use the nickel crystal. In nickel crystal, D is equal to 2.15 angstrom unit and N is equal to 1. Okay. Now therefore, that is equal to 2 into 2.15 into sine of 50 degree, isn't it? Therefore, that is equal to 1.65 angstrom unit. Lambda is equal to 1.65 angstrom unit. This is the theoretical value. This value is theoretical, and practically we have to calculate. For 54 volt, lambda is equal to 1.67 angstrom unit. Means this is the practical value and this is the theoretical value. Lambda is equal to 1.65 angstrom unit for 50. D is equal, N is equal to 1 and D is equal to 2.15 angstrom unit, and hence from this we have to conclude that the experimental value of lambda has a close agreement with the theoretical value, because practical value is 1.67 and the theoretical value is 1.65 angstrom unit, and hence there is a close agreement with the theoretical value. Hence from above, electron beam behaves like a X-rays and goes through the diffraction at reflecting surface. Thus electrons behaves like a wave. Isn't it? All of you remember it, because this is very important sentence. The Davison and Germer shows that practically the wave nature and particle nature. From this first conclusion, we have to say that the electron beam behaves like a X-ray and goes through diffraction at reflecting surface. Thus electron behaves like a wave nature. Okay. Now the second part is for oblique incident. Now second part is for oblique incidence. In oblique incident, the crystal is moved in such a way that the angle of incident and the angle of reflection is same. Suppose angle of incident is 10 degree, then the angle of reflection is also 10 degree by changing applied voltage V. Then de Broglie wavelength can be changed. Then the electron follows the Bragg's reflection condition. Friends, already in a crystal physics, all of you know that the Bragg's reflection. In Bragg's reflection, the basic condition is 2d sine of theta is equal to n lambda. Here, n is the number of plane, d is the spacing between the crystals lattices. Now, the electrons are diffracted by successive parallel planes. These are the successive parallel planes of atoms of crystal. This figure shows the Bragg's reflection. Here the 5 by 5 array, and in this 5 by 5 array, this is the spacing between the two planes, and these are the incident rays and these are the reflected rays at that time. Here the angle is made, this is theta, this is the incident angle and this is the reflection angle. Now this is the d sine of theta, and this one is the graphical nature. At the x-axis there is a under root of V voltage or 1 by lambda, and on the y-axis there is the current. If we have to observe this graph, then this will be in the diminishing manner. Therefore, from this figure, the de Broglie's relation, we have to say here lambda is equal to h upon under root of 2m ev. But lambda is proportional to 1 upon under root of v. We know that the 2D sine of theta is equal to n lambda. This is the basic relation of the Bragg's reflection law, and n is equal to constant divided by lambda, because 2D sine of theta is constant, that is equal because theta is equal to 10 degree or I is equal to also 10 degree. Therefore, n is equal to constant upon lambda, that is also equal to constant divided by h upon under root of 2m ev, because we know that the value of lambda is equal to h upon under root of 2m ev, and therefore value is constant into under root of 2m ev. N is equal to constant into under root of 2m ev upon h, or directly we can say n is directly proportional to under root of v, means the order of spectrum is proportional to square root of applied voltage, and this is the particle nature of the particle nature according to the Davison-Germer experiment. Means with the help of Davison-Germer experiment, he can concluded that the wave nature as well as the particle nature. Thanks.